Hey, my name's Alina. Welcome to the Unraveled podcast.
My name is Nina. And what are we talking about today?
Let's do enjoying your own company.
Okay.
So I know, I remember like growing up, well, not really growing up, but like kind of in my like teenager phase when I was like moved out, living on my own, how I felt so like depressed if I wasn't hanging out with people or if I wasn't going out or if I wasn't getting to join or do other things with people. Literally FOMO.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be so upset when I would wake up and I had no text messages, no calls, like nobody wanted to be my friend. And now I'm at the age, this was probably like 5 years ago, 7 years ago. And now I'm at the phase in my life where I'm like begging to wake up and not have any calls or any text messages or anything. And it's interesting how drastic of a shift it is. But I feel like that's just because I'm enjoying being in my own company and just learning to appreciate the quietness and not having to be on the go all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely as you get older, I think you appreciate that more. And as your own self-worth is built over time, because to me, like the most relaxing thing, like you just asked me, what are you doing, tomorrow and this weekend, being at home, just relaxing at home because that's just what I want to do, peace and quiet, no one's bothering me. But there was a time definitely where you don't want to be with yourself. You don't want to be in the quiet because whether it's your own thoughts or like you said, FOMO, seeing what other people are doing. So how did you get to the place? Because you said, 5-7 years ago from where you needed to always hear from people, you needed to always have their validation to now you could take it or leave it. Like, you know who you are.
Right.
Regardless.
But also I'll even add to that to say, it's even nice to be like, to not feel so obligated to have to go to everything. Like I can say, no, I don't want to go, or, I'll catch you at the next one, or, whatever. It's nice to not feel obligated.
Yeah.
And I felt like I got to that place because I was at a place where I was always wanting to say yes because I had the fear of missing out. And I think after you do it so much, after you're part of everything, after you've exhausted yourself and giving it to everything else, everyone else, you appreciate your own company a little more, that it's almost a treat to have it to yourself.
Yeah. That's so interesting, honestly. And the other thing I always like to think of is, I heard someone say that true self-confidence is built by keeping promises to yourself. So if you say you're going to do something, and this happens over time, you can trust yourself 100%. And then through that process, you learn to love yourself 100%. What would you say to someone who is still younger or maybe young in the industry that has not reached that point yet? What are some things they could do to kind of push themselves towards the point of confidence and knowing who they are, loving themselves, being able to be alone with themselves and all that?
That's tough because it's different for everyone in every phase of life, and also the different industries that you are in, because I had to build my self-confidence. I had to build my confidence in myself. I've also had to build my confidence in my career. And for me, those looked like two completely different things. Building my confidence in myself, I don't even know where to start because like that started, I don't even know at what phase of my life that I became self-confident and wasn't so worried about having others validate me. Mostly men. I feel like as a teenager and as a young adult, you're so focused on men. You can be boy crazy, all of these things, and you're as a woman. Are you a woman as a teenage woman? I don't know.
Young woman.
You may not, I feel like a lot of the times you're finding your validation in men. And I don't know. I don't even know where I started or how I got to that point. And maybe it was through rejection or through, I think maybe it was like through rejection and through like a lot of the things that I went through. I just naturally maybe found it. I don't know.
So, I mean, then that's kind of an encouraging thing for people to think about, that if they're going through something that's difficult, or maybe it's a breakup, or a phase of their life is coming to an end, that they can actually use that to their advantage down the road, to where they're building trust in themselves,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And even if I think about something that I need to do in the future, or some challenging uh, job, or anything that I'm seeing in the future, that how am I going to do that? Well, you can look back in the past and see all the times that you showed up consistently. And then you have that feedback and history to know, okay, no, this is fine.
That's actually very good.
Done it before, we can do it again. But takes time.
That's actually really good. That's actually really good.
Takes time. So, yeah. I mean, I have younger sisters that I'm still telling this to right now. Of course, won't listen because, you know, they know better. But, you know, getting validation from guys, or from professors, or from jobs or bosses, you know, because we all want to be accepted and loved at the end of the day. But no one is going to love you or accept you as much as you can love and accept yourself. And
that is
really,
so true.
You can't expect that or put that on somebody. Like, if your happiness is contingent on somebody else,
you'll be disappointed.
Oh boy.
Every time.
Oh boy. You just forget about that right now. So constantly just thinking, how can I love myself, be okay with myself, be happy with myself? And if there's other people that come along, then they're just like a bonus, you know, like a cherry on top. But
also just finding your self-worth.
Yeah. Knowing who you are, knowing what you bring to the table. I mean, I could see it in so many, like, I have friends that I see it in them, and I tell them all the time, and they can't see it in themselves. I want to shake them and be like, what are you talking about? You know, but
it's crazy because some people need the validations of others, and some people completely disregard it because they don't see it in themselves. I just thought about that. I was like, wow, the contrast on those two things.
Yeah. And you have to really work on it, because it's easier to almost see it in other people, you know, to see their potential, to see their growth before you even see it in yourself. But then, like, take those same things and think about in yourself. What are the things I love about myself? And then if there's things that you don't like, how can we improve that? If you can't change it, then that's just a part of who you are. But
then this also goes back to, don't complain about something if you're not willing to work on it.
Exactly. Because, you know.
And I think that actually highlights how you feel more confident and lose it and build more, how you feel more confident and secure in yourself is by making progress and changing the things that you don't like about yourself.
Yeah. And again, it just proves, look what I did. I came from point A to point B. So this is possible. I improved this. I worked on myself. I did this. And then when you're in a friendship or relationship, or, you know, a job interview, or whatever it is, you just have that confidence. And you can't teach it to somebody. They have to build it through experience over time. And someone will say, you come off so confident. How did you?
Look, it took time. It took time.
Do you want me to list all the traumas that it took in order to get here?
Or all the negative feedback and the hurtful things, you know, I've heard. And the thing is too, even if it's a physical appearance that you don't like about yourself, like, and you can't change, learn to appreciate those things about yourself that are going to set you apart, because you have to be, if you can't change it, then there's no sense in complaining about it and hating yourself more, because those are things that you cannot change. Like, realize those things are unique about yourself and appreciate it more.
Yeah. Focus on things that you love.
Agreed.
If you can change it, then great. But the things that are unique to you, that's exactly it. It makes you who you are. And, you know, you see on Instagram sometimes all these, I don't know if it's filters or if it's just, you know, a bunch of different procedures. A lot of times all the women look the same. Like, could they be twins? Probably, or sisters. But it makes me sad because they all feel like they have to look alike. And you should do whatever you need to do to feel confident, right?
Right.
But I think some uniqueness is beautiful.
Agreed.
You know, with your branding, with your personality, with how you talk, how you dress, your style. How do you stand out from the rest? But it all goes back to, do you love yourself? Or are you just so insecure? How to get from insecure to confident. That's the journey that we're all on, you know. And I feel like it's like this. Like you feel like you've worked and you're at the top, and all of a sudden, because you have worked on that, you now see another thing that you need to work on. And you work through
But
that.
that's the part of growth and
Mhm.
improving on things that are going to help you grow.
Yeah.
So it's never going to be like a steady path where,
No.
there's no changes that are going to, it's not going to be stagnant. Like it's always going to be something that there should always be something that is changing in your life to kind of help you grow as an individual.
And it's kind of cool too, like as you go through growth and change and tough things, if you've done it in the past and you've seen some positive things come from it, when you face something in the future, you can look back and say, look, I know I'm going through something really hard, but look, last time something like this happened, I made it through.
Right.
I was better for it. And so you can kind of have that hope and excitement for the other side of the hard thing. And because sometimes people will let a hard thing make them bitter, not better. And they'll just kind of wallow.
That's the victim mindset.
And that's the key, I think, because we're all going to go through different things in life. No one has a perfect life, but if you can use it to your advantage, that's the important thing.
Growing up for me, I had a very, very interesting childhood and just, like losing my parents and, blase. And I've had people tell me like, oh my goodness, that's so amazing that you're seeing where you're at today compared to where you started and what you went through. How are you, not crazy or homeless or, whatever. And I'm like, because I don't have a victim mindset. I could sit there and, be like, oh, well, I went through this and I can't accomplish anything or, whatever. I could make up whatever in my head. But the reality is I could have went two directions. I could have either been successful and decided to take a positive path, or I could have been more negative and made myself a victim.
Yeah. And absolutely 100% the choice is yours. What you choose to do in each tough time will determine the future.
Correct. But also I switched my mindset and I was like, you know what I went through was tough. It was terrible, but I'm not a victim of that. I'm going to use that to push me to my destiny and my purpose or whatever I want to do. And I'm blessed that I went through what I went through, because if I hadn't, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't have been able to. There was something in another podcast that we had where you said something about how you have to go through things to be able to. Do you remember?
No.
Like you have to go through stuff to be able to almost like form the person that you are.
Yes.
And if I had this perfect life or if I was in this perfect world, I probably wouldn't be the person that I am today. But because I went through so many things and I had to learn how to navigate and go through these hurdles and interact with different people in my life, it's formed me to who I am. So yes, all of that stuff was tough, but it's also a blessing. Like I've had to change my mindset to realize it's a blessing and it's not a curse.
Yeah. And there's another quote that this reminds me of. You're most able to help the person who you used to be. So think about
and pouring into someone else.
Exactly. And this is the big thing I wish people would realize, that a lot of times when you see someone who seems to be successful or they've come from a hard thing and now they've pushed through, they don't have a victim mindset, but it also is hard. It takes work and it takes effort. So it is very possible. And like layers, I joke that there's an it factor, and it's not like supermodel, superstar. An it factor is things that you can't teach somebody, something that they've learned over time. So whether it's work ethic or drive or maturity, wisdom, all those things over the years and layers of difficulty, they have grown into that. You can't teach someone. They have to experience it. Like it's a fine wine, and seasoned over time.
Also goes back to being secure within yourself, because it's not something that's going to happen overnight. You've got to go through some shit to realize, not even to realize, you've got to go through a lot of stuff to be able to build that confidence in yourself.
Yeah. And it's not easy, but I really believe that it's worth it. So
I agree, because it's not going to only just help you in your personal life to have that confidence, but also in your work life and interacting with people in general. Like I think also when I was younger in my teenage years, I wasn't able to have tough conversations with people because I wasn't confident. But
Mm.
building that confidence over time has allowed me to be able to have tough conversations and prove myself. Well, I wouldn't even say prove my self worth, but in business, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. But I don't know. I feel like that. I just feel like that building that security definitely helps with every aspect of your life because you're able to do more when you have the confidence in yourself and believing that you're able to do something.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think that is our time for today. Thank you again for joining us. We release a new episode every Wednesday. You can watch us on social media, or you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening.